You know, we humans, we seem hardwired to look for guidance, don't we?
Absolutely. Whether it's a mentor, an advisor, or, well, something bigger.
Right. And today, in this deep dive, we're exploring exactly that through the experiences of two very different people, Devendranath Mazumdar and Kalipada Ghosh, and their encounters with Sri Ramakrishna.
Yeah, and our main source here is the biography, Life of Sri Ramakrishna. It gives us these fascinating glimpses.
It really does. We've got one man, Devendranath, wrestling with doubt, but desperate for spiritual truth.
And then Kalipada, drawn more by curiosity initially, who finds this unexpected, powerful connection.
So our mission really is to unpack their journeys. What brought them to Sri Ramakrishna? What do their stories tell us?
And what does it reveal about Sri Ramakrishna himself through their eyes?
Okay, let's start with Devendranath. He's middle-aged, living in Calcutta, works in an office, Lamandar's office.
And intellectually, he's got real doubts about God, about the divine, but underneath,
there's this powerful pull, right? A deep longing for realization, even with the skepticism.
Exactly. It's that classic tension between the head and the heart, you could say. He really embodies that intellectual seeker type.
He needed to wrestle with those doubts first.
And he was actively looking for a guru, a real guru. He even had criteria.
And praying earnestly for guidance. It shows how serious that underlying desire was.
You really feel that human need for authentic spiritual direction, someone genuine.
And this longing, it sounds like it just took over his life.
Sleepless nights, yeah. Constantly asking, if God is real, why doesn't he show himself? That kind of intense questioning.
You can sense the desperation. And then comes this almost farcical attempt to meet Bhagavan Das for initiation.
Oh, right. He misses the steamer.
And then finds his friend isn't even home.
Yeah.
It's like the universe just said, nope, not that way.
It really does feel like something was subtly redirecting him, doesn't it?
Definitely. Which leads to this pivotal moment. Serendipity, maybe?
Seems like it. He just happens to open a book and his eye lands on this footnote.
Mentioning Ramakrishna Paramahamsa of Rasmani's Kali temple at Dakshineswar.
And that word Paramahamsa, it just clicks for Devendranath. It implies someone who's achieved, God realization.
And that one word changes everything. It's amazing how small things can be such catalysts.
Totally. So, based just on that title, he decides right then he needs to go to Dakshineswar.
He just goes, finds Sri Ramakrishna in the garden, arm in a sling. Pretty ordinary scene initially.
Yeah, he asks someone where the Paramahamsa is and gets pointed to this, plainly dressed man right in front of him.
Probably not what he was expecting.
I guess not. Maybe something more imposing. And the first interaction is so down to earth.
It really is. Sri Ramakrishna seems worried about, of all things, someone stealing shoes.
Yes. It's so mundane, almost jarring when you're expecting this profound spiritual meeting. Very disarming.
Catches Devendranath completely off guard. Then Sri Ramakrishna starts talking about his broken arm.
Inviting him to look at it, examine it, like a child showing you a scrap almost.
Yeah. This contrast between his delicate appearance and this utter frankness, it must have been confusing for Devendranath.
It clearly made him wonder, right? Is this genuine simplicity or is it some kind of act, a hoax?
What do you think that says about Devendranath's own mindset at that point?
Well, it shows he came with preconceived notions, didn't he? About what a master should be like. Austere, maybe? Reserved?
And Sri Ramakrishna just shatters that.
Completely. But that very artlessness, that childlike spontaneity, seems to be what convinces Devendranath in the end. It feels authentic. Hard to fake that.
And the conversation develops from there. Sri Ramakrishna talks about divine love.
And then offers him food, prasad from the Vishnu temple.
Which leads to another surprise moment. Sri Ramakrishna somehow intuits that Devendranath is a vegetarian.
That must have been startling. It raises that question, doesn't it? How did he know? Is it reading hearts or a deep empathy or...
It certainly makes Devendranath wonder about the depth of Sri Ramakrishna's insight.
And then Sri Ramakrishna notices how pale Devendranath looks.
Yeah, spots the malaria relapse immediately. Shows real practical concern.
Arranges for someone, Baburam, to take him back to Calcutta, even asks him to come back again. It's this blend of spiritual depth and very human care.
Such a contrast. But the aftermath is just, wow.
Intense, yeah. 6 weeks basically unconscious.
Mumbling Sri Ramakrishna's name, having these vivid hallucinations of him at his bedside, that's a powerful reaction to a first meeting.
It really underscores the intensity of his spiritual state, the impact the encounter had, even subconsciously.
But his conscious mind draws a different conclusion initially.
Understandably. He thinks, okay, that trip made me sick. I'm not going back there. Fear of the fever returning.
It's logical, but maybe misses the deeper significance. The fear becomes a barrier.
A powerful one. But that spiritual longing, it doesn't just disappear, does it?
No, it's still there, just quieter for a while. He tries a different practice, the Gayatri.
And interestingly, that seems to revive the yearning again. Yet, he's still hesitant about Dakshineswar because of the fever risk.
That internal struggle is so relatable for anyone on a spiritual path, I think. The mind throws up these obstacles.
Exactly. Fear of physical discomfort may be standing in for fear of the unknown journey itself.
Until another seemingly random event happens.
The newspaper item just happens to see an announcement that Sri Ramakrishna is meeting devotees at Balaram Bose's house in Calcutta.
It's like the universe giving him another chance, a clearer sign. And this time,
Poof! All the resistance vanishes. Instantly.
it's quite different from Kalipada's story, which we'll get to. This long, drawn-out process for Devendranath.
But that moment shows the power of that connection, right? When it truly clicks, the fears dissolve. He goes straight to Baghdazar.
Walks into this incredible scene, ecstatic, singing, dancing.
Yeah.
Sri Ramakrishna deeply immersed.
And Devendranath feels hesitant, naturally. He's been away so long, maybe feeling awkward.
But then Sri Ramakrishna spots him.
And speaks to him so kindly, right? Amidst everyone rushing to touch his feet, he asks Devendranath why he stayed away, how he's been. That familiar voice.
It just melts him, completely overcomes all the doubt and hesitation.
That personal touch, that kindness.
He promises to return, and this time he does. He really starts his journey then.
Experiences that bliss Sri Ramakrishna's company offered, follows the guidance, has his own realizations.
And interestingly, when he feels ready to renounce everything, become a monk.
Sri Ramakrishna advises him against it, tells him to stay a householder, that it won't hinder his progress.
Which is such key individualized guidance. It wasn't one size fits all.
Absolutely. It showed an understanding that spiritual life unfolds differently for everyone, even within worldly duties.
So that's Devendranath's path winding, full of doubt, but ultimately finding this profound connection. Now let's switch gears to Kalipada Ghosh.
A very different starting point. He's got a good job. Messrs. John Dickinson and Co. seems quite established.
And his interest isn't born from some deep spiritual crisis like Devendranath.
No, it's sparked by his friend Girish Chandra Ghosh telling him these strange things about Sri Ramakrishna. Curiosity, basically.
So he decides to check it out. Hires a boat, goes to Dakshineswar, almost on a whim, it seems.
Pretty much. And the reception he gets is immediate warmth. Sri Ramakrishna greets them like they're old friends, even though it's their first meeting.
Quite different from Devendranath's initial, more hesitant encounter.
Very different. And then, almost immediately, Sri Ramakrishna mentions wanting to go to Calcutta.
And Kalipada just offers his boat. Right away. Such a spontaneous gesture of, well, respect and generosity.
It really is. So they travel together on the boat.
And Sri Ramakrishna asks him about his chosen deity. A natural conversation starter.
Kalipada says he adores Kali, his namesake, so he already has that devotional inclination.
And the topic turns to initiation. Sri Ramakrishna asks if he's initiated.
Kalipada says no. But then, this is the surprising part.
He just declares he's willing to take initiation right then and there from Sri Ramakrishna.
Despite apparently having this prior conviction that only God himself could be his guru.
That's a massive shift, isn't it, in one meeting?
It really is. It speaks volumes about the immediate impact Sri Ramakrishna had. That conviction just dissolved in his presence. There was some kind of instant trust, a feeling of surrender.
Amazing. And the initiation method itself is so unique.
Just writing mystic syllables directly on Kalipada's tongue with his finger.
Wow. And the text notes that only a very few disciples were initiated quite like that.
Suggests a really direct, potent transmission, maybe a special connection felt right away. It bypasses the usual rituals.
Definitely highlights Sri Ramakrishna's unique spiritual authority.
And then, instead of just going back, Sri Ramakrishna suggests they go to Kalipada's own house in Calcutta.
Imagine that. What an honor for Kalipada on their very first meeting.
Absolutely, and it cements that connection. Kalipada becomes one of his most devoted disciples.
Described as being of the heroic type of devotee, a bhakta.
That immediate, unwavering devotion really underscores how profound that first encounter was for him. From casual curiosity to total commitment.
So we have these two incredibly different stories leading to the same figure, Devendranath's long struggle.
Filled with intellectual doubt, setbacks, serendipity.
And Kalipada's almost instantaneous connection, driven by an initial curiosity that blossomed into deep faith.
It really shows there isn't just one way, is there? Guidance can come through wrestling with questions or through a sudden, undeniable feeling.
What strikes me is Sri Ramakrishna's ability to meet each of them exactly where they were.
Yes, addressing their specific needs, their temperaments, not forcing them into a mold.
The aha moments stand out too. For Devendranath, it's that footnote, that little clue.
And for Kalipada, it's that moment of recognition, that willingness to let go of his previous ideas about a guru. Instant surrender.
So, thinking about you listening, what can we take from this? What do these varied paths suggest about finding our own way, our own understanding?
Well, it certainly suggests that profound connections, moments of insight, they don't always follow a neat, predictable path, do they?
No, not at all. Which brings us to a final thought, maybe. Considering Devendranath and Kalipada, what could it mean for you to be truly open? Open to unexpected sources of wisdom, maybe.
Is that journey towards understanding always logical, step by step? Or does it sometimes involve, just trusting a feeling, embracing a connection that resonates, even if it comes out of the blue?
Something to definitely reflect on.
I hope you like this chapter. We need volunteers and sponsors to create content with even better quality and with more variety. If you wish to join this initiative as a volunteer or sponsor, please click the links given in description below. To help us reach more viewers, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Biography Central. Thank you for your time. It means a lot. Namaste.